So good morning and welcome, and let's have a seat. Let your hands rest on your lap. Allow your eyes to close. Let the elbows feel heavy, allowing space for the throat, the upper back and neck. Slide your chin back just ever so slightly, and maybe a hair down. Letting the breath flow evenly through the nostrils, down to the belly. Allowing that downward movement to anchor you in, ground, stabilize. And let the upward movement as the breath moves out of the body help you to feel light and effortless. When we stack the body, bones on top of bones, the muscles can soften just a little bit and the body can come to a balanced, steady state. It doesn't have to work so hard. And then we can take a moment just to see what's present. So in this practice this morning, and I've used this phrase before, you stay in your own lane. And what does that mean? It means that we move and we live our lives based on who we are and what we need as an individual. Not get pulled sideways by whatever the newest, shiniest thing is. And today, as we practice staying in our own lane, we're going to work with neutral spine today, feeling and sensing into what it feels like when we come out of alignment and what it feels like when we go in. And turning the palms up and just noticing that subtle shift in the upper body when you do that. We get a little distracted with the movement of the hand, but if we just do it nice and slow, you'll notice that there is a sensation around the shoulders and maybe around the throat and the mouth, the collarbones. From here, inhale, bring your arms up over your head. Bring your palms together, and as you exhale, bring your hands down to your heart center. Let that intention or that movement set your intention for why you're here today. What is it that you need? And let the class be exactly that. Take another breath. And as you exhale, release your hands, softly open your eyes, go ahead and roll the shoulders. So no one else magically appeared on our in our room today, so it'll be us. All right, I want to use the ball or the blanket right away, and we're going to start lying down, kind of different this morning. So if I show you on mine, and I take my blanket, let's just say that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to roll it up so it's in a rolled up kind of tube. And if you do it one way, it'll be skinny. And if you do it another way, it'll be thicker. The thicker one will give you more movement. Now, if you're not using the roll, you're going to put the ball right between your upper shoulder blades. Okay, so we're going to make like a back bendy kind of position. Let me adjust my screen a bit. And then we'll get started right there. All right. So just remember, if you have a little roll, it's not going to give you the same effect. It doesn't have to be super big. So if I use myself as an example and I rolled this blanket up in a thick roll, and if I go back, it's like just barely to the edge. I know I'm okay, so it's fine. I want you to take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, and see if you can let your elbows open out. Now, if that feels way too hard, then you know it's too high. So just make it smaller. Keep your knees bent, and I want you to lift your bottom up and kind of tuck your tailbone slightly, giving your lower back some length. And I want you to notice when you inhale, can you feel the front of your body expand? When you exhale, draw the belly button towards the spine. And inhaling, expand, let everything open. And then exhaling, contracting, drawing everything in the front body in and down. Now you can stay right here and just allow yourself to have that freedom. Or you can draw your elbows towards your head so you're cradling the side of your head. Take a breath. And as you exhale, draw the belly in and then lift your head up and bring your eyes towards your knees. Inhale and expand backward, letting the elbows open. Exhale, elbows together and lift. So what are we doing here? We're actually doing what's called an extension curl. So we're moving from a back bend to a little bit of flexion in this area that tends to be pretty sticky, right around that mid-back. So if this feels really challenging, it might be a good thing for you to practice. If it feels too hard, you might have a too high of a roll. The soft balls are really nice to use for this. And then as we continue, exhale, bring one knee towards one elbow. Put your foot down when your head comes down, expanding elbows. Exhaling, coming back up, other knee to other elbow. Inhaling, expanding. And we're targeting the muscles that are along the spine and deep in the core that tend to be a little lazy. They don't want to work. They want to let the big guys do it. So we're trying to wake them up a bit. One knee at a time. Try not to be overzealous that you're going to do both knees at the same time in this position. You might not like it too much. And exhaling when you come up. Try not to pull on your head. Inhaling as you go back one more time. Exhaling as you come up. And inhaling. Now stop at the bottom. Keep your arms where they were. Open your elbows if you can. And notice if there's any difference. Now I can tell you in my own body, my arms are down on the floor now and they weren't before. So I loosened something up. Now to come out of this, I want you to release your hands, roll to a side, and then push yourself up. That's a heck of a way to warm up. Come to tabletop, move your roll out of the way. So setting yourself up here for a big cat and cow, that's going to feel really good now after you just did all that. So inhaling, expanding, make it as big as you can. Drop your shoulder blades in and down. Flip your feet, exhale, pull the belly in and really round up your back. So inhaling, expanding, and exhaling. Let's do one more. And exhaling. And then find your way to a neutral spine. So neutral spine means you're not all the way down and you're not all the way up. You're somewhere in that sweet spot. And if I were to come around and kind of check on your sacrum, it'd be pretty flat and even. Take your right leg back, toes down, take your left arm forward, thumb up. Use your fingers here. You're going to inhale and get a little bigger. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, get a little bigger. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale and exhale. That's one more. Inhale. Now stay here. You're welcome to stay right here or bend your knee and see if you can grab your foot. If you've got a hold of your foot, bend your elbow, shoulder on your back, eyes forward. Use your right fingers. Lift your right leg a little higher. Draw the belly in a little deeper. One more breath. And then release and come back to center. Nice, adjust. Finding your neutral again on this side, and then we'll take the left leg back and the right arm forward. And we stay here, inhaling, getting taller. Exhaling, elbow to knee. Inhaling, getting longer. Exhale, elbow to knee. 2 more. Reaching. Remember to use your fingertips on your left hand. Reaching, stay here. You can stay right here, or you can bend your knee and reach around, hook your foot. Now, if you've got your foot, bend your elbow, shoulder on your back, eyes forward, and allow the knee to lift up. Breathe. And then release. Nice job. Fingertips on the floor. Use all 10 fingers like you're trying to grip the floor, and then hover your knees off the floor. 3, 2, 1. Go back to downward facing dog, bent knees. So keep your bent knees for a moment here. Inhale, come back to floating. And if you're tired, put your knees down on the mat. And then go back to downward facing. Just one heel reaches back. Keep the other knee bent. Come back to floating knees. And then switch now, downward facing, other heel stretches back. And last time, floating knees. And both heels try to drop back. Take 3 to 5 breaths here. Finding your way into your body. Okay, and then slowly bring yourself back down onto your knees. Put your elbows where your hands are. You can bring your hands together if you like. Just make sure that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. I like to interlace my fingers, but you have to tuck your pinky finger in if you do that. And so from here, we're going to rock back. I want you to drop your head, chest down as much as you can. And then you're going to come forward. And if your shoulders say okay, I want you to come towards your hands. So up and back and up and forward. So we're warming up the body in a completely different way today, using our body weight as a tool. And if your shoulders come forward like mine are doing, and it feels a little too much, it's a big movement for the shoulders, just stop in that original position. Let's do one more. And now find your shoulders right over your elbows. Pick up your knees and reach back for forearm plank. And this is where you're going to have some discernment here about where your body is. So you don't want to drop your pelvis. You want to make sure that your sacrum feels pretty level. Tailbone reaching towards your heels, belly drawing in and up, especially on the exhale. One more breath here. And then let your hips come down, point your toes, separate your hands to the corners of your mat, and see if you can hover off your elbows to lift up for what we call seal pose in yin. Opening up your back body, breathing. Good, take one more breath, and then exhale down. Now listen, I want you to put your hands right by your ribs. Right by your ribs, kind of tuck your thumbs underneath your ribs. Squeeze your shoulders, and you're going to keep your knees on the floor unless you're supersonic. I want you to lift your belly, exhale, push your hands, and move up into an upward push-up. Lower all the way back down. Try it again. Belly up, push. All the way down. One more time. Think belly up first, exhale, and downward facing dog. If you do push-ups, especially yoga push-ups correctly, they can be pretty challenging. Go ahead and downward facing dog, a little walk, a little twist, a little play. Do what you like to do in your body. before we move away from that. Remember, with downward facing dog, we're trying not to bring the shoulders up by the ears as much as we can. All right, from here, go ahead and take a walk to the front of your mat and stay in forward fold for me. Let your head relax, let your shoulders and neck relax. Soften your knees, especially if you're tight in the back of your legs. And then from here, we're going to drop the hips down so that you're in this squat position. Take your arms forward so that you're in an upright chair. Shoulders on your back. Take your belly lifting, take your tailbone down, and see if you can bring your arms up and open. So we're doing like a V shape with the arms to keep the neck free and the head free. Lift your toes, shift your weight back into your heels. See if you can sit a little deeper. So now we're more in the legs. Okay, take a breath here. We're going to exhale, bring the elbows in towards our back pockets, and then inhale, come back up. Exhale, squeeze, bring your elbows in your back pockets. Inhale one more time like that. Exhale, squeeze. Now hold the squeeze, bring your hands behind you. And from here, we're going to move the energy a little bit. So we're going to inhale, come up. Exhale, go back. Inhale, exhale. And we're just moving a little quicker pace, trying to pick up and move the energy upright as we get down on the floor for a bit. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last time, we're going to stay to the back, stay to the exhale right here. And I want you to pick up your left heel. Okay, shoulders are on your back, left heel, pick up your foot. Good, stay with that. Pick up your foot, tap it back behind you. Tap it back in front of you. Tap it back. Tap it front. Keep squeezing your shoulder blades back and front and stay. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go back. Stay here. Lift your right heel. Hover. Tap it back. Tap it forward. Tap it back. Tap it forward. So we're working a lot on one leg here. This moving leg isn't really doing anything other than keeping us distracted. And pause, inhale, come all the way up, exhale, release, and come down. I just wanted you to warm up your legs a little bit more before we started getting really into it. So now you can pick up weights if you like. Your arms are pretty ready. We're going to start in a wide stance. So finding a width here on your mat. Turn your toes so that they're slightly open, bend your knees. And your knees and your depth is really individual for you. So find what works for you. All righty, and so we're going to go back to the arms. One of my favorite moves, elbows here. Okay, we're going to crisscross to touch the opposite hand, open, and then go over your head and down. Crisscross and over your head. Keeping your arms fairly close to your body. I don't want them way out away from you. And every time you go to crisscross your opposite hand. See if you can think about that. All right, we're going to add movement here. So crisscross. When we push up, we stand up, and then we sit. Cross, open, sit. Right? So we want to keep that sitting as we reach. Keep the sitting as we cross. Sorry, I'm saying it all wrong. Down, crisscross, and open. Good. Keep lifting your big toes, and that will help you stay out of your inner knee. And remember, everybody's different, so your depth of squat might not be my depth and vice versa. Good. Crisscross, and then push overhead, up, sit, crisscross, push overhead. Last time. Now sit and stay. Once you're there, bring your weights towards your body. So you're just kind of holding them in place. I want you to lift a heel and down. Lift a heel and down. Lift a heel and down. Good, tailbone to the floor, crown of the head to the sky. And we're working on mobility of the feet. Stay with it. Last two. Good. And then go to stand and turn your feet so they're square. Soften both knees. I'm going to turn so you can see. Soften both knees. You're going to flex forward so you're in a tabletop position here. Drop your arms. Similar movement, we're going to bring the arms open and then crisscross your arms to touch your opposite shoulders. Open, crisscross. So knees are soft here. I don't want you to have a straight leg. Spine's in neutral. Can you figure that out so you're not all rounded like cat? And when your arms come open, you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. And open. And crisscross. And open. And crisscross. Open. Good. Let's do two more. And open. And crisscross. And open. Now bring your hands to your chest. Stand. All right. Make those toes turn out a little bit. Find that squat again. So this time, if you want to put two weights in one hand, because you might be a little bit stronger, we're going to work biceps here. So that's not a hard movement for your arm. You might be able to transition to a heavier weight. So whatever hand you've got the double weight in, you're going to lift that heel. So here's what I want you to do. Find your squat and lift the same side heel arm down. You're going to keep the heel off the floor while we go up and down. Up and down. Now, if you don't like the up and down, you hold your squat and you do your biceps. And I need to slow down. Up. Good. Keeping that heel way up off the floor. When we're doing this kind of movement, you're going to feel deeper action in this lifted heel side leg. And that's why we're doing it. And down, shoulders stay square. Head stays towards the sky. Last two. And up. Good. Now pause, release that heel and just switch your weights to the other hand. Find your little squat, lift your heel. So now you're on the other side. The knee, remember, is still going towards the toes. So when we stand, the hand comes to the shoulder, and when we lower, the hand comes down. So remember, you can do a stationary position. You can just stay right here, or you can move up. The movement helps you know what we did in the beginning when we were over the roll? It helps to unstick the sticky parts. Up. But you got to work with your own body and figure out what works best. And down, and up, and down, and up. Last two, and down, and last one, and down. Terrific. Go back to the first hand, two weights in that hand. And I want you to turn the opposite foot towards the edge of your mat and the heel back so we can bend our front knee and be in a safe position. I want you to come down on your forearm. You're going to stay on your forearm while you drop your double weight down to the floor and row. So your hand comes up by your rib cage, your chest opens a little. Down, row, down, row. Good. Feel and sense that back body. Push through your back leg. I want you to lift your back inner arch off the floor. You can do that a couple different ways. One way is gripping the mat with your toes. Another way is to identify with the outer edge of your back foot. This front knee's not doing anything. It's just hanging out. Down, up, down. One more time, and hold on the up and stand all the way up. Bring your feet to square. Switch your hands. Now turn the other foot, toes, and the other heel so you can bend your knee. So we're in a warrior one kind of stance. And then you come down on your forearm. Feel free to adjust your legs however you need so that you're not like this. You don't want to be bent over like this. Then come down to the floor and row, squeezing that shoulder blade. Down, squeeze. Down, squeeze. and up, down and up. Breathing. Stay focused on your back foot. Up, down, up, down. Last two. Down, up. One more. Okay, now from here, can you put your weights down on the floor off your mat? Come down into a high lunge, so your fingers are down on the mat, and bring this front foot back and find downward facing dog. Once you're in downward facing dog, feel free to adjust, pedal, do whatever you like to do. This is a rest. Remember that you're not trying to bring your shoulders by your ears. So if you're noticing that you're kind of all crunched up, I want you to walk your hands a little wider and pretend like you're spinning your fingers outward, and it will help your shoulders move away from your neck. All right, from here, come forward into plank pose. Your first plank pose of the morning. All right, feet are a little bit wider apart. Drop your heels to one side. And if you feel rambunctious, take your left arm or the opposite arm up. And it'll be the one that you can lift up, not the one you can't. All right, so you're in a side plank here. Drop your hand, spin back to plank, don't come out of it. Take your heels the other way. Take the other hand off the mat if you're going to do that. Keeping your body completely still. Come back to center. Heels up or down. Knees up or down, not heels. We're going to do those 3 push-ups again. So here we go, right by your side body, down. Exhale, pull up. Down. Exhale, pull up. Down. Exhale, pull up. Now this time go to the floor and stay there. Slide your hands forward towards the corners of your mat. See if you can push up. Now this may be no. You might not want to come up this far. Press down through your feet, lift your kneecaps, lift your heart. Big breath in. Exhale down, slide your hands next to your rib cage, elbows in, push yourself away and find downward facing dog. Again, taking 3 to 5 breaths in downward facing dog. All right, take a walk to the front of your mat. Stand that forward fold. Dropping your hips down, coming into that chair pose. Sweep your arms forward. Shoulders on your back, toes up. Then see where your arms want to go right along your ears. Do you have any more freedom? If not, arms are wider. Okay. Thumbs are to the wall behind you. Keep lifting your toes, keep dropping your tailbone, keep lifting your ribs. One more breath. And then inhale, stand all the way up, let go of your arms. All right, picking up the weights for round 2. No rest for the weary. This particular series is biceps and triceps oriented. So if you want to work with a heavier weight, feel free to do that. So we're going to start in chair pose. Similar to that first position that we were in, your knees can be all the way together, or your feet can be in a neutral position. You're going to sit back in that chair pose that we were in before, and I want you to bring your arms back behind you, palms to the sky. So feel that shoulder blade action, tailbone action, lifting toes. We're going to stay in chair. We're going to bring the hands forward so that the palms are facing in front of you, and then press back and in and press back. So right now, we're not doing any rotation of the forearm, but you might be feeling something a little differently because we're using this bicep curl action in a different way. So 2 more like that, keeping your legs steady. And back and forward. Now hold to the back and just flip your hands around so the palms are down to the floor. And then curl again, palms in and back and in and back and in. So stay in that chair pose as much as you can, keeping the toes up and back and in and back. Let's do one more, and then we're going to vary this here. So taking your hands back, flip your palms to the sky again. This time, drop through, rotate so that the palms are to your shoulders. Drop through, rotate so your palms are to the sky. Down, shoulders, down, sky. So the thing to think about here is, can you keep your spine in neutral and not fall in or out of that alignment as we kind of mess around here with the arms. And last time here, hold here, come off of your right heel. We did this once before, and step back. From here, I want you to bring your weights to your chest and put them together. If you find that's too hard, get rid of one. We're going to go up, back, up, down, up. So you're doing a nice tight alignment with your arms. And now the option here for you, if you want, is when your hands come down to your chest, you're going to bend your back knee. Up, bend, up, lunge. So that's an option. Remember, you don't have to do that part. You don't have to go all the way to the floor. Up. Oh my goodness. And back. We'll do one more. So up. Now this time, stay lifted, hands to your chest. Keep them there. Lean forward and fly. So your toes, your right foot toes are to the floor. You're trying again to keep that parallel level, the pelvis level, and you're balancing. This front knee can be soft. It doesn't have to be locked tight. One more breath. And then bring your back knee to the front and stand. Shake it out a little, because you know we have the other side to do. So finding that chair pose again, we're going to vary the arm movements this time. So coming into chair, eyes forward. The biggest thing I used to see is that people would look down at the floor. So I want you to keep your body upright as much as you can, but don't go into this big back arch. Tailbone heavy, core body is engaged, chest is open. Alrighty, from here, I want you to start with that crisscrossy idea. We're just going to keep the elbows where they are and open. Cross, open. So this is a little harder, because your upper body isn't moving, your lower body isn't moving, just your hands. We're working internal, external rotators here. Now, if you feel like you want a little bit more, I'll show you another level. So you open and then you reach. Come back to your elbows, cross, open, reach. Back to your elbows, cross. You don't have to do the reach part if it feels too much. Okay? And it depends on how much weight you have and how strong you are. Crisscross, last one. Okay, now bring your weights to your chest. Come off your left heel. Step back into that high lunge. Bring yourself upright and find your balance. Second round, up, bend, up, down. And if you want, you can add that lunge. When the weights come down, your knee comes down. When your weights go up, your knee goes up. And down. Really stick it. Really know that you've got this movement, that you feel stable. In the beginning, we talked about the inward breath moves down in our body. That's our grounding energy. And the outward breath moves up in our body. And that's our lifting or light energy. And we always have to have the balance of both of those, yeah? One more. Up. And then I want you to hold your weights at your chest. Fold forward and fly. I don't care how high that leg comes up. I just want you to keep your neutral spine. You might find that you're tipping open. Try not to do that. The leg that you're standing on, soft. Heart long, eyes forward. Breathing. Bring your back leg to your front leg and stand. Terrific. Set your weights down to the side. One more time, we're going to come to the floor. So taking your time here, folding forward, soften knees. We just did a lot of asymmetrical work, so just note that. And then plant your hands, come back to plank pose. When you're in plank pose, check out your line. Do you feel like you're swaying like a hammock? Or do you feel like your body's pretty straight? Remember, your head is part of your body, so don't let it drop down. I like how, when I like those little cues, people adjust. They're like, oh yeah, I have a head. I'm not supposed to let it dangle down. How we doing? Come down onto your knee, one knee, just one knee. So you're down on a little bit less weighted, right? So we're going to play with this. Sharon, this is going to come back and look at you later. So your straight leg is going to stay where it is, and the bent knee is going to come up towards your body with the exhale. So it looks like this. So keep trying with me. You can touch the knee on the floor or you can hover it, but try not to rest it. Exhale every time. One more. Good. Switch your knees, because you know you have two sides. And once you get up, set up, try it again over here. Exhale up. The knee and the foot come off the mat, trying to kind of drive it up straight towards your belly, not towards your head. Last two and one. Both knees on the floor. Rest back in child's pose. Turn your hands upside down, pump your fingers. And then rotate your wrists. Breathing. Just noticed a message from someone. All righty. How we feeling? You ready to lay down on the floor for a bit? All right. Find your way down on the mat. And for Kixies, let's go back to that first movement, because I would love to see if there's any change. So remember that first thing that we did, back bending over the whatever you were using? Let's go back to that for a second. I want you to see if there's any difference after all that moving around. So remember, the roll of the ball goes kind of right at the base of the shoulder blades. Women, it's kind of the bra line. And then see, can you roll backward? What does your body feel like now? Is it similar? Is it different? Do you feel more bendy, less sticky? My right shoulder's still off the floor, so that's interesting. I can make it go down, but. And if your head is on the floor, take your fingers away and let your arms be either in a cactus position or wide like a V. And let your knees come all the way down, legs come all the way down for a minute. Let's just pause here in this back bend. This is one of those things that if you did every day, it really does help with posture. It helps with breathing, lung capacity. You get tired in your upper back and neck and shoulders, mostly because our heads are forward on our body. And it really does make a difference to counteract that periodically throughout the day. Take one more breath. Good, and then bend your knees, roll to a side, and push yourself away from that. Now just take this out from behind you and come back down on your body. You can use the weights for this last action or not. We're going to combine a bridge pose movement with chest work. So do you have room? See, I have to move a little bit of stuff out of the way. Do you have room to open your arms all the way out to the side, parallel to your shoulders, not below them? So that's the first check. And then if so, bring your hands to your chest and set your feet up, ankle under knee. So the tendency is to bring your feet too close to you, and then you put a lot of pressure on the knees. So wiggle your feet forward so that your shins are straight up and down. Neutral spine here. And then bring your weights to the ceiling if you're using them. As you press your feet into your feet and you lift your bottom, take your arms open into that wide chest fly. And then exhale, lower the bottom, crisscross your arms one more time and touch your shoulders. So it's up and open and down and cross. So we've been doing these crosses in lots of different positions to try to get into these really interesting little shoulder muscles that help keep our shoulders in the place that they're supposed to be in. Most of us don't have them in the right spot. And exhale. And so you're just breathing and you're flowing with this movement. If the arm movement doesn't feel good, just get rid of it and do the legs. Keeping your spine in a neutral position, meaning you don't overly curl your tailbone when you come up, or you don't overly arch your back when you come up. So it'll stop you at a certain point if you're holding that neutral position. Next time your arms come out and your bottom lifts, stay there. You can leave your arms where they are and tuck your shoulders under you more. Come up on the balls of your feet. Press your balls of your feet into the air and lift your hips up higher. Make sure your knees aren't coming apart. They're right lined up with your body. You're pressing into the whole ball of the foot, big toe side and little toe side, tailbone high. One more breath here, and then let everything come down. Let your weights come to the side. Adjust yourself so that you feel pretty level on the floor. Bring your knees up so that they're parallel to your hips, so in like a 90-degree here. This is the common denominator. If you need to do this little knee to chest stretch just for your lower back, do that, and then come back to where we are. So here's again another choice. Your arms can be behind you like we did in the beginning, and your elbows are open, and you can stay right here. Let's start with a one-sided movement. So you're going to press your heel up towards the like an angle, so you're in a 45-degree angle, and then you're going to come back in. Other side, 45-degree angle, come back in. So stay with me. Don't do anything different, just this one leg at a time. Now, if that feels okay and you want to make it harder, you just lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Let your arms stay open or let them be relaxed. It doesn't matter. And I'm not going to ask you to curl towards your knees. This is just a holding static movement here while your legs move. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I could do this all day, Sue, then what I want you to do is put your feet together and do both legs at the same time. Okay, so that's the progression. Your head and shoulders are off the mat if you like. Let your head rest in your hands. And if you're doing two legs, it would be ideal that your head is up. If you're doing one leg at a time, you can keep your head down. And you're pushing away and you're coming back in. Trying not to bring your knees close to your body. So I don't want you to bring them all the way to your chest. And you're trying to push your feet up rather than drop your feet down. Push your feet up, keeping your feet parallel with your knees on the downward position. Last two. Push and in. One more. Push and hold. Lift your chest a little higher. And exhale, release, let everything go. Let your knees go side to side. Letting go of any of that tension. Breathing. Notice what you notice. Alrighty. Crisscross your right ankle over your left knee. And pick up your left foot and bring your legs towards you. So we're in a hip stretch here now. What I want you to think about is that neutral spine. Is your lower back in a nice little curve, or did you flatten it to the floor? Please don't do that. It will really affect your entire spine. Let your weight of your legs be on your sacrum. Your knee be open as much as you can. And if that feels hard, just hold your shin. Because a lot of people, when they try to hold their bottom leg, they end up in this crunched up position that is not serving them at all. If you like, and you've got a hold of the back of the leg, you can straighten the back of your leg, keeping the lower back light off the floor. Breathe. And then bend your leg, put your foot back down on the floor, and bring your hips over to the right. Drop your legs as they are over to the left, and can you hold your right foot or ankle with your left hand? This knee stays up. You can even take your right hand and push it if you need to. Secondary part of this is to pick up your other foot with your other hand, so you're like a big pretzel. If you got both hands, I want you to push your feet into your hands, roll both shoulders flat on the floor, and keep this right knee up to the ceiling. So it's a big stretch, a lot going on here. You don't have to hold your bottom foot, that's fine without doing it. Take about 3 breaths here. Letting that belly expand as you inhale. Contract as you exhale. Now let go of your bottom foot and bring yourself back up. Uncross that leg and then reset yourself in the middle, finding that neutral again. And then we'll do the same thing on the left. So left ankle crosses right knee, keeping the pelvis neutral. Go ahead and lift and hold on to either your shin or your underside leg. And again, finding the weight of your legs on your sacrum, not on your lower back. And you can even play with pulling hard and noticing what happens in your neck versus if you release it. Breathing. Soften your jaw. Soften your throat. And then maybe you could straighten this leg that you're holding up. If you're doing that, you might want to push your leg into your hands. Creates a deeper stretch, especially if you pull your toes back towards your nose. One more breath here. And then let your foot come back to the floor. And then hop your hips over to the left and drop your legs over to the right, getting a hold of your foot on the way. Now, if you're super long-waisted, this is hard, so I appreciate that. Knee stays to the ceiling. You can stay right here and try to work on that a little, or you can pick up your bottom foot. I like to touch my body with both feet, so I adjust my feet just a little bit. Roll the shoulders back and open so your chest is up, and pause. It's a big stretch for your lower back and deep inner hip socket. And so always make your own discernment, use your own discernment, make your own decisions around where you want to go. Remember to use a little muscle here if you're super flexible. So you could do that by pushing your feet into your own hands, creating a little bit of resistance. One more nice deep breath. And then as you exhale softly, let go of your feet. Bring yourself back up and uncross, reset. All right, knees to the chest, give them a little hug. I like closed legs here, but you can do whatever. Just a gentle rock is nice to do here, massaging the spinal muscles. Then pause here in the middle, take a breath and exhale, pick your head up, curl into a little ball. And then let it release. Now put your left foot down on the floor. Can you reach around and grab your big toe of your right foot? And see if you can take it out to the side. Now that's a maybe. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. And you could bend your knee and keep it there, or you can straighten your leg, whatever your body says it can do. The idea here is that we're trying to stay pretty stable in the pelvis. You might notice a little lift of your left side, but you're trying not to let that happen. Good, and then come back to center. Knees to chest. Little rock. And then put your right foot down. Reach down to the inner side of your left foot and then take the left leg out. Now, if you're like me and you're lucky, I have a wall right here, so I can let my foot rest on the wall. Or a chair or whatever you have near you. As long as you're getting a really good action in your inner leg. These inner muscles of the upper thigh, they tend to really be a little bit short because of our body habits. And it does affect the knee, and it will make your knee feel like it has something wrong with it. The inner knee will start to hurt. And it's usually just tightness. Good. And then bring it back. 2 knees to chest. Give it a little hug, give it a little rock. Next one's optional. You can take your knees wide apart, grab your big toes, and come to happy baby, which means your feet are straight up to the ceiling and your knees are kind of cradling down next to your rib cage. You can hold your ankles or your outer feet here. If you want and have the freedom, you could take both legs out to the side. So choice here. If your bottom comes off the floor and you're kind of rolled up in a little ball, happy baby is a better choice for your spine. Okay, take one more breath. Bring your feet back toward each other, land them on the floor. And then just for a second, pick up your pelvis and put it back down. Let your knees switch side to side. Noticing anything that maybe you need to do before we fall into Shavasana. And then when you feel ready, legs down, arms down, palms open. Remember to cover yourself, even if it's nice there. You know, if I'm pretty warm because I'm laying on a heated floor, but I could take my blanket and just lay it over my pelvis. That's not going to make me feel hot, but that's also going to help ground me. If you feel like you need to put something under your head, do so, or under your legs. Make this your special, luscious time. Take a nice deep breath and settle in, allowing your body to let go. Take a nice deep breath. And let that breath start to awaken you from the inside out. Begin to stretch and move as you feel ready. Bringing yourself back. And trying not to rush, just take your time, bending your knees. Slowly rolling to a side and coming up to sitting. Bringing the hands together when you're seated, thumbs to the breastbone. Sliding your thumbs up along the skin of the breastbone to encourage the chest to rise slightly, shoulders release, head can bow. So I hope today, as we practice, you were able to stay in your own lane, creating the movements and modifying or adding on to whatever you needed for you. And at the end of class, we feel grounded, steady, light, with ease. And gratitude for our time together on the mat, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.